Good afternoon. Doctors from Great Ormond Street Hospital in London are continuing to monitor the progress of the 5-year-old Bosnian girl who was airlifted to Britain from Sarajevo yesterday. Last night, Irma Hadzimuratovic underwent a 3-hour operation to remove shrapnel from her back.
There's been no new condition report on Irma this morning for the waiting media. The 5-year-old, who because of back injuries had spent the last 11 days lying on her side, she arrived in that condition yesterday, is however now able to sleep on her back after last night's 3-hour spinal surgery. Irma's father is overjoyed after the first of a series of operations, according to the Bosnian Information Service spokesman in London.
He's happy for his child, but in the same time he's sorry for other parents who cannot, bring their children to be treated.
Irma is still heavily sedated. The last bulletin from the hospital described her condition as stable. It's now thought she'll have more scans of the brain to see if shrapnel lodged there can safely be removed.
The United Nations in Sarajevo has said the Bosnian Serb army is still on Mount Igman, overlooking the city, despite promises that it would withdraw. Bosnia's Muslim president says he won't attend the peace talks in Geneva until they do go. This morning's session has been called off.
The continued presence of Serb troops on Mount Igman has blocked the peace process. Officially, it's hoped the problems can be sorted out today so talks can restart, but there isn't much optimism. Bosnia's President Izetbegovic has made it clear he won't negotiate until the Serbs withdraw. But Dr. Karadzic, the Bosnian Serbs' political leader, has not fulfilled his promise that they will go. Lord Owen believes it's unfair to ask President Izetbegovic to negotiate in these circumstances. The mediators have also spoken to Dr. Karadzic and told him to spend the morning getting his men off the mountain.
The number of complaints against British Rail rose to record levels last year. The Rail Passengers Watchdog, the Central Transport Consultative Committee, received nearly 9,500 complaints last year. Most were about punctuality, cancelled trains and the system of refunds for poor service. The committee warns that passenger services could break down because of underinvestment. The Department of Transport is considering forcing newly qualified drivers to retake their tests if they commit an endorsable offence. It's one of several proposals aimed at reducing the number of accidents involving new drivers who are mainly under 21. It's hoped the move would act as a deterrent against reckless driving.
I think it will change their attitudes away from one of, if I get convicted, it's only 3 points and a fine, into one of, the driving licence which I hold most dear is at risk if I commit serious motoring offences.
That's it. The next news is at 1 o'clock.
Now the headlines in the southeast. A tax inspector who contracted Legionnaire's disease while working at Inland Revenue offices in Berkshire has died. Adrian Cockell worked at the offices in Reading and was taken to hospital last week. Officials confirmed that traces of the bacteria were found in the water cooling and air conditioning system. The result of a second post-mortem examination on the body of Joy Gardner, the Jamaican woman who collapsed while a deportation order was being served, is expected this afternoon. Mrs. Gardner died in hospital after a struggle with police and immigration officers at her home in North London. The examination was carried out on behalf of her family. A remand centre in Berkshire, which was damaged in a riot, has been criticised by the Chief Inspector of Prisons. Judge Stephen Tumin says Reading Remand Centre should no longer be used for young prisoners because of its cramped and inadequate facilities. Boredom was partly blamed for the riots last Boxing Day. The daughter-in-law of zoo owner John Aspinall has had stitches after being bitten by a tiger cub in Kent. Louise Aspinall was playing with 3 cubs in a cage at Howlett Zoo near Canterbury when one of them